Jordan, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you, sir.
Right on. I'm really excited to talk to you today. I think the few times we've interacted before, there's been a lot of, I think, really interesting things you've said or really cool ideas that were brought up, and they were never a circumstance I wish I could pick your brain. So I'm really grateful you're allowing me to do that today. So thanks for coming on the show.
For sure. My pleasure.
Awesome. So take us through kind of, for people who don't know you or people who might not be aware, take us through kind of your journey from leaving kind of post-secondary, that transition period, to kind of where we are now, and then we'll come full circle as we go.
Yeah, after high school, I went to Humber College to do a bachelor's in industrial design, which was basic product design. I wanted to design basketball shoes. That's what I wanted to do.
Nice.
And then after I had about like half a year or like a year left, I kind of ditched it and went all out with dunking, just because at that point I was already kind of like being called one of the best or best in the world or whatever. So I just had to take that leap and see what would happen. And then then I had somebody from Hoop Mixtape, well, somebody from the guy who owns Hoop Mixtape, Niels Wagner. He flew me out to LA to test run doing a video with me for 2 weeks, and then that turned into like 6 months. And then we just kind of kept doing projects together. So that guy took a chance on me, and then we just did a bunch of stuff together. He's the one that kind of got me some NBA gigs too, like all my biggest videos and stuff like that. So just kept going from there and got better and better, and here we are.
Nice. So what, you're 29 now, or 29?
29, yeah. Turning
Nice.
30, yeah.
Yeah? You feel old yet, or no?
Not quite. Like, my body, I guess, is starting to feel old in terms of dunking specifically, right?
Yeah,
'Cause, I mean, it's
very specific, high twitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I can't show up in a gym and just, like, jump really high right away. I have to take a lot of time warm up and all that, and a lot more, like, prehab type stuff all the time. But other than that, I guess I feel different than I was before than when I was younger. I don't necessarily feel older, but I feel different,
Yeah. Nice. So why dunking? Like, take me through kind of where did that stem from?
All right, so that definitely stemmed, with me being named after Michael Jordan and my dad being such a big basketball fan.
Yeah.
Right, there's videos of me dunking at 1 year old on hoops, like, super short, obviously. And I just kind of kept working my way up with Fisher Price nets. Yeah. Picturing myself being like, Jason Richardson, Michael Jordan, all this stuff on like 8-foot hoops when I was like 12. And then once I found out that professional dunking was a thing, not in the NBA, I was like, oh, people can just be dunkers.
Like separately.
That's it?
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, that's when it started changing. So I used to be like a shooter. That was my thing in basketball. Yeah. In like grade 9 and stuff, and then slowly as I discovered dunking, you could tell like I just never even took a 3-point shot at the end of the year, because all I did was go fast and jump high and try and like do stuff in the air, because I spent so much time just dunking on like 8-foot hoops and 9-foot hoops. And then I don't know, dunking is like the best thing in the world to me too. It's a combination of things that no other sport has to me. So there's the power aspect of it, where you just like punch something like really hard, right? So like whether it be like boxing, like that perfect hit, or like baseball, you just like crush a ball in that way.
That crack it makes on the bat. Yeah.
Oh yeah. A volleyball spike, that feeling is always my favorite part of volleyball. So volleyball has two of the things. So volleyball also has the jumping high part, where you jump and it feels like you're floating. Like I've always loved that, like that cool feeling. Yeah. And it's cool. The better you get, the more it feels like you float. You know what I mean? It's really cool. So now, the third aspect, which no other sport has, in combination with those two other things, is creativity. So there's like so many dunks that you can have been not done yet, and like 20 years ago, they've been saying like, there's no more dunks left to do, and I've invented 209 so far.
Jordan's like, hold my beer.
Yeah, but that's my thing though. That's my favorite thing. It was almost like you're the first human ever to do something, and that was such a fascinating idea to me. So that's kind of why I love that. And so I think, again, industrial design was so much creativity. It's basically being an inventor, like inventing products, and it worked really well with that. And
where do you think your kind of creativity stemmed from?
That's a good question. I think a lot of it was inherited, I think, from my dad, and just the fact that because my dad even was training, like you see him train people and he's like just so creative, like he's on the fly, and it's if I ever have questions on like exercises that I want to do for specifically for dunking, he can just like make up exercise like crazy on the spot.
Oh, jeez.
And you know, a lot of my dunking drills that I get to, like I got it from him because he just made up drills on his own when he was younger for basketball. And then outside of that, definitely my ADD. You know, when I was in product design, I was like, you know, I felt kind of out of place because I had ADD in school. Meanwhile, I mean, obviously everybody gets diagnosed with ADD these days, but
everybody gets prescribed something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. But anyways, and I went to. It was even more so the case in my product design class. Like, I think there was maybe 2 people that didn't have ADD. You know what I mean? Like, it's like almost like a prerequisite to having to being creative. And the way I'll describe it, I just like this idea. So, picture like a. Just a giant like picture, right? Of a bunch of completely irrelevant like different subjects. You know, they can kind of fade into like making sense to each one.
Yeah.
Somebody who would be normal, I guess, picture everything being blurred out except for the middle, and then their focus can kind of slowly go between those. But me, it would be the opposite, where the middle's kind of blurred out, but then we can make connections really well from like completely random places. That's what creativity is.
Right.
It's making connections of things that you already have, because it's not new ideas, it's just like weird connections of things you already have, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's an interesting way of looking at it, because I definitely was prescribed, and it could be like a fidget thing now that I notice more, just like an eye twitch thing that I got going on. I'm like, oh man,
we're special.
Right, you know, but so you can't, I like that, because you can't, that's a very good way of putting it. Because I think that might be for a reason for, like, I find I go off on tangents in conversations, but find a really, like, unique place. Like, I don't try to end up here, but so how do we get from here to here? It's like, well, I didn't just take that path. It was like, well, we're just going to make our own and see where this goes. That's what a lot of ideas that we were talking about before the podcast started, but all the ideas as of late that I've tried to do are, we'll see how this goes. I don't know where it's going to end up, but like, F it, whatever. Here's where it's going to go, right? So, kind of focusing that topic to, in regards of dunking, doing, like you said, one of anything, or the first to do something, is kind of like a ridiculous concept just to grasp in and of itself. So, what is your creative process like? And so, how did that develop over the years? In regards to dunking specifically, like coming up with them.
Yeah. So one thing I'll say too, that used to be my favorite concept to me, was being the first ever to do something like that was so cool to me. It's less cool to me now, just because everything you do ever is the first thing that a human's ever done. It sounds ridiculous. So that's a more philosophical thing, but like, you know, no person has come here, other person has come here in this spot at exactly this time.
Dressed the way you are.
Yeah, looking the way you can get so ridiculous with it.
For sure.
But I honestly, you know, that's kind of where my head's at now. So the reason now is just it's fun. It's fun to be creative. That's straight up it. Nice. But my creative process, the number one process, which is like the least creative to me, it's still creative, of course, but the way my brain works is, you can almost, and we actually want to make like a program like this where you input all of the different types of dunks, right? So you input a 360, all the basics, so 360 between the legs, behind the back. I mean, there's a lot.
I get it, yeah.
Right, but then all you do is like switch up the combination and the order. You know what I mean? So let's say you got a 360 between the legs.
Yeah.
You know, or sorry, and between the legs, 360 between the legs. You just keep combining them. Then it's like, you know, nobody's really done too many variations of lobbing off the side of the backboard and then doing a dunk with it, or doing a Dwight Howard tap where you tap it off the backboard, catch it, and then do a windmill. So that was a new one. I was like, what if I reverse it? What if I do a windmill first, then throw it off the backboard and catch it and dunk it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you just kind of do that nonstop.
Yeah.
And then the other methods would be, and the most fun one is when you come up with like a completely new variation. That's like, it's not a combination of any dunk that exists. It's just like a completely new idea. That's what the Scorpion was, and that's what the Lost and Found was that I did.
Nice.
Lost and Found one came from like, this is one of my methods coming up with dunks, is like almost like a dance, right? Like I look like I'm almost dancing on the ground, like I'm just You can always tell I'm inventing a dunk. So I'm just
Right.
looking like up in the air and I'm like doing this. I'm trying to like force myself to not do patterns I already know and like let my arms go in like weird spots that don't feel right. And then all of a sudden you kind of like visualize a dunk, you know. You're trying to force an accident. I guess that's one way to put it. Right? By going to like irregular positions and then yeah.
Well, like you said, it's a form of expression, right? Or a dance form of expression, or an art form, right? And I find that's a really interesting way of you putting it, with like, oh no, we want something to happen, so we're gonna try just whatever works and then see what happens. Like you said, an accident, which really, it almost doesn't seem like one, because you're trying to make something not happen, or trying to make something happen that wasn't gonna happen on its own. But I found when I started doing something similar in like jiu-jitsu, right? So as like the 4 or 5 years I've been doing it now, at the beginning I was taught specific ways of doing things. Like, here's your triangle, here's your armbar, here's your single leg, here's like different takedowns, whatever it is. And I go through the patterns. But I found when I actually started getting better at it and like started to make a difference was when those kind of things would happen, where I'd be like, I'm in this position, okay, I got him in a closed guard, all right, I want to go here. What if I go, I could do this, no, they're defending this, no, they're defending that, oh, they broke the grip here, all right, forget it, let's try this.
Yeah.
And then more often than not, I'd find it goes one way, and I'm sure you can relate to this, where it goes completely not the way you want it to, where you're like, ooh, their knees on my neck, that's not fun.
Yeah.
And then it's like, ooh, this works.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I could do this now. And then it becomes a pattern, you rep it out. But I find some things are better happening, or they happen better just being an accident that way. I find it helps with the creative process that way. And it's like, it's cool to see. It's cool to see come to fruition.
Yeah, I think part of it too is like, it's problem solving, but like there's no problem, if that makes sense. Like, the problem is that something doesn't exist, so it's like, how do you approach that, you know? But
Right.
So the way that I've always viewed it in my head is that all these moves, all these tricks already exist in a sense. We just got to find them. So it's like trying to find stars, you know, trying to find like something that is already there,
Yeah.
you know, but in concepts, but you're just kind of discovering them, you know what I mean?
Right. Interesting. Yeah, like it's already done. You just got to find it. In a sense, yeah.
Like,
you're trying to
like
make
if it's
something
already
out of nothing,
possible,
so-
it's already like, it's discoverable. So to
Yeah.
me, like in a sense, it already exists. Like, I mean, another way to put it is like, I mean, it'll be in the future, right? Like somebody will do it in the future, so like it's possible it exists. So you're just discovering it.
Right. They discover it, they don't discover it, and then you do. Yeah. Interesting. That's really cool. I like that. Do you find that as you kind of develop in the sport, your creative process hasn't changed too much, or is there things you do unrelated to dunking that you used to not do that have kind of come into the picture more, that have helped you out?
In terms of creativity?
Yeah.
Yeah, so one thing I was actually, I get ideas from sometimes, but like mostly nothing has come of too many of them yet. But I still do it for fun. Like, I'll look at other sports, like with the rhythmic gymnastics, they're pretty crazy. They have like the one with the ball, right?
Yeah.
So they'll do tricks, and also there's freestyle basketball. So freestyle, you know, with like Harlem Globetrotters, they spin the ball in the finger, they do all this stuff. There's people who do that as like their life. Like, how serious I take dunking. And so they invent moves nonstop, right? So I'd have like a friend of mine who used to be #1 in the world, and I'd be like, okay, just freestyle. And I would just watch. I'd be like, that thing, like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then we go try that with the dunk, you know what I mean? So that's a fun method, is to look at other things to get inspiration from it, right?
Huh. That's a really cool way of doing that. Nice. Now, in regards to dunking, how are you able to kind of go from it being something, and now was it just the guy taking the leap of faith with you, or was it like, how are you able to monetize it where it's now something you do full time? Like, that is your focus.
So I think the way that it happened with me is not the way that it happens with some other people. That's good. The way I had it in my head was that I want to be so good that people were almost like forced to reach out to me. Because before that guy reached out to me, I felt like I was better than a lot of pros out there, but nobody was giving me a call. But like, you know, rightfully so, I wasn't anywhere near these events where I could like show my stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Somebody would have to fly me out, and nobody would, because I'm some kid dunking in Sudbury in Canada, and who knows if his rims are tiny? You know, who knows if he's actually legit?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, and I get people all the time being like, "How do I get gigs? How do I get gigs?" I'm like, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. Like at your point, you know what I mean? I would never think about that. I would just think like, I gotta train as hard as I possibly can, and then, you know, once I'm good enough, they won't have a choice but to fly me out.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's kind of the way I approached it. So I think it mostly came from also, again, my biggest thing is my creativity, the fact that I can invent so many new dunks. And fortunately for me, that's what people like to see, right? People don't like to see the same dunks over and over and over again. They like to see new stuff, which is why I go viral very often. A lot of new stuff coming out. And yeah, that got me more attention than everybody else, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we talked first time. I think we kind of chatted, and I see if I can jog my memory on this. But you kind of mentioned something about, we were talking way back when about, I think it was earlier this year or last year, sorry, and it was about, in terms of, we were watching a UFC fight, and we were talking about kind of like learning skills, like just like learning to pick up different skills, and then how you were talking, like you wanted to kind of get into learning like martial arts and that kind of thing, and then we talked about skill development and stuff. So what I'm really curious about, because you made a comment how you pick up things very quickly, and now had anybody else in the room said that, I would have thought they were, I would have been like, okay. I mean, if I were to say that, I'd be like, wow, this guy's pretty arrogant. But the way you said it, where there was kind of like, there was a belief in the words you were saying that made me go, okay, this is true, right? It could be just the conviction you had with it, but I was like, okay, this guy's onto something. So what I'm curious about is how, like, tell me about your learning process in terms of developing skills, whether that be with dunks or whether that be with business or stuff other stuff you do.
All right, so one thing, when I say I learn things quickly, I guess I should rephrase that, because I don't actually, it's not that true. It's, I learn, it's just that I learn things quickly over like a certain amount of time, because I will put in way more time and effort than everybody else. That's pretty much it, you know what I mean? So like, that's what I mean by like, when people are like, oh, this will take a long time, you know, you need to be extremely skilled. I'm like, okay, but what if I spend, 16 hours a day on it? You know what I mean? I'm going to get somewhere, you know what I mean?
So the same amount of time.
Yeah, so like that's my thing is, I find a lot of times whenever I'm doing things, I'll think I can, get decently good at something pretty quick, but then I'll see somebody else doing it, so many things that I do just in so much less time, you know what I mean? Yeah. So and I'm just like, man, I keep kind of getting shown that like the reason why I'm able to do these things is just because I spend so much time on it. Right. That's kind of the big difference. Because even like when you want to get better so freaking bad, right? I think that's one of my methods. I wanted to like get better like so bad that like a lot of times other dunkers, right? First off, I dunk a lot more than the other dunkers, especially like throughout my life. I used to dunk 3-4 hours every single day for like years, and then other dunkers dunk when they do the dunk session, right? They show up, they do the jumps, and then for like an hour, and then they go home and they do that twice a week or once a week, and then not only am I doing more, but I'm like, man, how can I get better at dunking without actually jumping? Because I'm limited, right? I can only jump so much before I start losing how much I'm going to jump high.
Right, it's a nervous system thing.
Exactly, I can't just get a shot. So I invented, these ball handling drills. That's called wall drills, where I'm practicing the technique on the ground, and I'm seeing how well it relates to me actually jumping and doing the motion. So now I can practice for hours without actually doing the jumping, right? So now, they can only train like 2 hours total in the week for like specifically for dunking. They can do weightlifting, they do all this other stuff, but then I'm spending like hours and hours not just jumping but also practicing the dunks without actually jumping. And you know what I mean? So that's the difference when you really want to get good at something. Like you create stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I've created or tried to come up with exercises that fail. I didn't give it the time, but sometimes it works.
Man, I love that.
And then everybody else can stand off top of your shoulders later on. You know what I mean? Then they will build on what you did. So
right. I like that a lot. that reminds me, years ago when I was reading Michael Phelps's book, I know he had like a next level ADHD like as well, and I found what you guys, well, him I'm sure on like a elite scale, but I find whenever there's a problem that I need to solve, you have this ability to hyper focus, right? And you can kind of pick apart every aspect of what you're doing and what the problem is in front of you, and then that allows you to kind of see way past and get way further and surpass any like competition or other competitor or just another person who's just going through the motions at that level. Like, that's what I think when I hear what you just said. I'm like, oh, every single time I'm able to focus on something I need to, but then there's hyper focus and then not being able to focus, right? So I'm wondering if, as you've kind of gotten older, and as I hate saying older, you know, I almost feel like I'm making fun of people for
I'm okay with getting
older, but
I think it's a great thing to get older.
I mean, experience, right? Wisdom, they call it. But I'm wondering if, as kind of the years have gone by, have you noticed like your ability to hyper focus is like still there and you're still present, or do you find it harder to kind of like, how, I guess what I'm asking is, how do you focus so much attention and mental resource on one thing, and then how do you kind of add on to that?
I think 2 reasons. Number 1, I have to like the thing I'm doing. If I don't like it, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's kind of that simple, you know.
That's
I
a
mean,
good point.
I will do things I don't like for the things that I do like, you know.
Right.
Obviously, I don't like every part of training or whatever it is I need to do to afford dunking, but
yeah.
But then there's also the aspect of there's just discipline, right? Like, and you kind of learn to love discipline. You love to the feeling of overcoming something, and there's opportunities to overcome things like every single day. You know what I mean? Like every single moment, literally. Like you wake up one day, you're feeling like super down. You know, you don't even want to get out of bed. It feels uncomfortable to stand up out of bed.
Yeah.
Okay, just stand up. That's a small win for that day. Stand up. If you felt like keep going, you know, if you want to do something else with that, sure. If not, whatever. But there's always these tiny, like, slightly uncomfortable moments that you can, like, get under your belt and collect those as wins. And that's literally just building the skill of discipline. And I think that is just kind of fun to me, right? It's you're constantly overcoming something. And I think as humans, we're made to work. You know, like our ancestors didn't just sit there all day. You know what I mean? They worked. They survived nonstop, and
they had to.
They even like interview like tribes and stuff like that, and have, you know, psychologists like analyze them, and they're like, well, they have no concept of depression. You know, they're busy surviving, and like they enjoy part of that. So I think that's in us. You know what I mean? The ability to put in work. So, and not just that, effort is literally the only thing you have control of in life. Might as well become like a beast with it, you know what I mean? Then you can just make life, I don't know if I'm allowed to start, but your bitch.
No, dude, it's your episode, man. Say what you want.
Yeah, then you can kind of make life your bitch, you know what I mean? And, yeah.
Dude, it's, I love that. It's true, and I'm not the biggest fan of giving advice, or I find myself giving advice and then kind of not taking it. I'm sure we're all guilty of that in some respects, but I find I'll tell people you can't control, especially complainers. Like, look, you can control what happens. You cannot control, more often than not, what happens to you directly. But almost 100% of the time, you can control how you behave or how you react to things, right? You know, it's like whatever you say something or I say something, it's like you get to control whether you get up and leave, whether you say something, whether you hit me. You know, like there's a lot of things you can do in terms of reactions. So I like that a lot. It's something that you're able to kind of move forward on and learn from, and then I think we've gotten soft. Not like us specifically, right? But I don't know if it's just we've kind of created this atmosphere or this life of like that society's kind of created or helped us mold into. But I feel it's gotten a lot easier, right? Like you get $2,000 a month to do nothing.
Yeah, I think that's
like, for an easy example.
That quote where it's like, what is it?
I think I know where you're going to.
Yeah, you know this, right? So strong people make easy times makes weak people make
Strong
hard times, I guess.
Yeah.
Hard times and easy times. Anyways, yeah, I think that's where we're at. It's just kind of easy times, so that's why I think it's important to choose to do hard things. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because life is going to throw at you some like massive like L's. You know what I mean? And if you were, you know, earlier before, you're kind of getting thrown L's nonstop throughout life, and so whenever big ones come, you can at least deal with it.
Right.
So the way I'm gonna give you my like terrible analogy.
Yes.
Let's go. I need to come up with a better one, but
You're a creative guy. You'll figure it out.
yeah, I'll figure it out.
I got faith in you, Jordan.
So in life likes to, for some reason, randomly throw giant weight vests on you. All right, that like weigh like huge amounts of weight. So let's say 300-pound weight vest.
That's heavy.
That's very heavy, and you know you have no control of when it's coming. It could be thrown at you multiple times in life, maybe just like a few times, maybe even 400-pound ones. You know what I mean? So I think it's our duty. It's not necessarily a duty, but I think we should have the choice to basically train for those times. So potentially for when those times come. Not only because like training, like there's value in training and becoming a good human and a strong person, and like that you can give to others, and like you know there's so much enjoyment in just training itself, and like just the whole journey thing, right? But so if you choose to put on like life vests, right, of your own, that goes up even to like 100 pounds or 150 pounds or to 200 pounds. You never done 300 pounds before, but a 300-pound one is thrown on you, you'll be able to handle it. You'll be able to at least like crawl and like move and stuff like that. But if you can only handle like 50-pound one, if you never put one on, you get a 300-pound one put on you, you're gonna be crushed physically and emotionally, right? Like you won't be able to breathe. There's your anxiety. You know what I mean? So that's why I think it's important to just pick up as many things as you can and choose to do the hard things. If it's not naturally hard for you already, you know what I mean?
And then you kind of grow, and those difficult times get easier, right? Like you get more, like you said, that 300 vest. If you're used to dunking with 300-pound vest on, for argument's sake, right? 400 isn't that bad.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So you're kind of used to that. Versus if you just kind of hang out here in the middle, everything's easy. Nothing's too hard, but nothing's too easy either. You can it's a comfort zone thing, right?
That's exactly what it is. I think it's way more appealing to do something where you're choosing, like, and you have control of what's hard. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you have the luxury to choose something like that's kind of hard. You know what I mean? Versus like that's a way better option, and getting used to it that way than getting forced to get used to it with like these huge, emotional like destructions. And like, I mean that's how it goes, right? But if you can choose to do it, progressively throughout life, you're going to be set up for life.
Nice. So I think the same thing could be said kind of in terms of going through difficult things. You build discipline as a skill when it comes to doing things that are hard is huge, right? And I was talking to a friend of mine earlier this week, and the whole discussion was like why working out is hard for people and it's not hard for others. I'm like, listen, being in shape is a lot easier than getting into shape. Actually, with my business partner, Kevin, I was like, dude, he's like, I'm trying to lose this, I'm trying to lose that, I can work out hard. I'm like, yeah, but there's no discipline, there's no structure to it, right? So I think that's super important, is finding ways, and like you said, right, just being disciplined enough to, and the way I kind of tell people the few times I've mentioned it with, and I could be like wrong in saying this, but it's the difference between a good day and a bad day, right? If you're having a good day, it's easy to do anything you want, right? Because you feel good.
Yeah.
But when the bad days kick in and you get up and, like you said, you don't want to stand up, you don't want to get out of bed, but the alarm's going off, your sheets feel so warm, man. Like, it's just cozy. You don't want to get up.
Yeah. And
it's all dark, and then you get up, make your bed. You move forward. You do next task. And whether you're having a good day or a bad day, you get those, you still show up at 6 a.m. or you still show up at like 10 to the gym or whatever things you're supposed to get done, you get them done no matter what internal battle you're fighting. And I think that's what makes the difference and what kind of toughens us all up.
Another synonym for discipline is basically just habits. Like you do things, like you do the hard things all the time because it's just a habit. It's just what you do. You know what I mean? So like whenever you have no motivation, which is all the time.
Yeah, more often than
you
not.
can rely on discipline, on
Right.
habits, right? So I think that's the big point. Is a lot of times people are like, "How do you stay motivated?" I'm like, "What the?
What is motivation?
Like what? Who you actually depend on motivation? That makes like
you get nothing done, don't you?
Yeah, no, that's what everybody else does. That's like if you want to be above average, you can't just rely on motivation, man. You're not always gonna feel like it.
I think that's the funniest thing, because everybody I talk to, or articles that I've read, or videos I've watched on people I've either had on the show in the past or I'm prepping to have on the show in the future, everybody's, oh, how do you stay motivated, right? I've talked to like national champion black belts in whatever, and then people are like, how do you stay motivated? And they all say the same thing. They're like, I'm never motivated. I don't want to get up at 6 a.m., show up to the gym at 8, teach for 5 hours, go home, eat, teach for another 3, train for another 4, and do that 8 days, 8-9 days a week. You know, like, come on.
Yeah, no, that's the thing too. When you start telling people all those things, they're like, "Oh, that I don't want to do that." I'm like, "Well, there's the difference."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right there, we figured it out.
Yeah,
I solved your
that's
problem.
it. Like, I mean, you say you want to be at the same point as this person or that person, but like, yeah, you hear all that stuff, you're like, never mind, But which is too bad, because it's not one of those things like I'm better than you because I can do this. Like, it's just more of like, it's just worth it, Like the ability to know that like when you master something, I think everybody should master something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now I have the confidence that like I really feel like I can do anything. Right. I just gotta wait to find out what it is that like
you're doing.
I like what do I want to do next? Whenever I figure that out, then it's like game over. You know
That's
what I mean?
awesome.
Yeah, so
I'm excited to see how that goes.
It's just the confidence that you have for life. I feel like I would not have the same confidence if I never took that leap and went straight for dunking, and I just like did a regular 9 to 5. I have like a lot of confidence as a person in my ability to just do things, So I don't know. Yeah, it'd be rough.
I think, man, that's incredible. I think there's something to be said too of like mastering something, eh? Like what is your definition of the term master something? Like, or master of anything?
I mean, pretty much just doing anything for like a huge amount of time, but obviously not just like not just doing it to do it, but like if you're really intensely focused, you're in that flow, you're in that zone for like long periods of time, and you can't really put a certain amount of hours on it, I suppose, but
there's no metric.
Yeah, with different things, I guess there's different. You could consider yourself a master at different points. There's a whole 10,000 hours thing, obviously. Yeah. But with dunking, I would consider myself a master. I've passed 10,000 hours, and I also, I'm known as, the best or one of the best, and so I would consider myself a master at that. There's also less people going for dunking than there is like something like basketball and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But
that's what makes you unique and authentic, right? Mm-hmm. That's a very, very specific thing. I think that's why I think, I don't know, that's really cool. It must be a really cool thing to kind of be able to say, right? Mm-hmm. And like be able to, feel, right? Like every day, like what that confidence must be insane. Like, so what? Every problem you should have like the most open mind to it, or how does that confidence kind of help you every day? It's just an overall thing, eh?
Well, yeah, pretty much just overall. Like, I just know, like, there's been times in my life, too, that I've done this, and again, this is skills you get from mastering something. So it's not even just the fact that you know that you mastered something, it's more the fact that, like, all the skills you learn along the way, right? Like, being able to overcome things. So, and I got one of these mentality from Nils from Hoop Mixtape. He's a mental beast. The second he gets scared of something, he's like, now I have to do it. It's like, there's no reason for me to do it, but now I have to. I got scared, and now I got it. It's
a perfect way to do it.
Yeah, so now, like, that happens with me at times. I'm like, part of me doesn't want to do this. I'm like, now I have to do this. Like, there's a million reasons why, like, I maybe even shouldn't. Yeah. And then, now I have to, but, like, that comes with, mastering something. You're forced to, like, learn those kinds of things, Mm-hmm. And now, there's some things that pop up like that now, and now I have confidence that, like, I would do it. I know I would. There's no reason to, and that's that. I don't know.
Now, dunking aside, and mastering a skill aside, when it comes to, I think, developing that ability and that confidence and that scary, if I'm scared of it, I should do it even more than if I'm not afraid of it, right? I found, and it could be not on like a grand 10,000 hour rule thing in regards to, if I'm scared of just this one experience, or if it makes you nervous, or in any regard kind of gets you up in the morning or lights a fire under your ass, and so to speak, I find those moments when you go through them or you surpass those objectives, whether they're small little victories that you see daily where you're scared of, or whether they're like you've been working for X amount of years or X amount of months, you've been training every week, like X amount of mileage, whether or weight you're going or rounds you get, and then when you achieve that, is that not just like the greatest feeling, whether it be small or huge?
To me, what was scarier than all those things, and I think that's what kept me motivated to go. And it seems to be the difference with other people, because a lot of people are like, well, what if it doesn't work out? Like, but my big thing is like, what if? What if it does work out? And what would be so sad would be to never even see if you could.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that frustrates you, right?
Man. Oh, don't even get to try to see. Like, oh man, that'd be so devastating. I would rather know that it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Like if I would have went all out for dunking and it didn't work out, like, sick. I'm good. I've got my closure.
I know.
Now I know for sure. Now I can go back to whatever I was gonna do anyways.
Yeah.
Design
dope ass shoes.
Yeah.
So I think that's fascinating. And there's this quote too, I can't remember who said it, but it was like, I'd rather you aim high and miss than aim low and hit. And every time I hear that, or I talk to people, or they say things similar to what you just said, I go, yeah. So now every single day I find little things, the more little things you do that scare you, or that you originally, you're like, because kind of where your comfort zone is, where your, I like to call it more like a comfort zone challenge area, where it's just past like it's easy, but then if I go a bit further, there we go, no, double it. Now you're where you want to be, right?
Yeah, I guess your comfort zone, you're just increasing it, I guess, is what's happening, right? You're getting comfortable doing the uncomfortable things, and the more you get this, technically, like, in a sense, the more freedom you have, because now you're not scared to do like so many things. There's
so much more you can do.
Yeah, there's so much more you can do. You increase. That's an interesting way to put it. Like, you increase your freedoms.
Right? It is, and I can picture it too. Like when I grew up working at summer camps a lot and outdoor centers, and so you have to kind of. And I know, and I'm bringing this topic up specifically because I know it's a skill, and because I've heard you say it before, that you're trying to, like, you're developing and trying to face the challenge of, which is public speaking, right? But we had to do a lot of, like, I guess, creative programming where it's, okay, our challenge when we were staff in training week was we were put in a broom closet with like 5 or 6 items. You go, okay, you have to make a game that could occupy these people for 45 minutes. Go. Like, all right, well, start the car. We shall see. So those kind of things, and then would kind of require us to get better at something, or we're like, you get people like, I don't know, who are like first year staff, kind of uncomfortable with the situation, and then 3 years later, they're like running the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, how did this happen? It's like, that's how we have people that go from becoming like a staff who's busting tables to running the bar to owning their own restaurant chain, right? It's like, that's how we have, there has to be development and there has to be progress, right? It's like, you can have all the gas in the car you want, but if you don't put that sucker in drive, it's not going anywhere, right? It has to go forward. I think that's like a concept that I've seen a lot of people, thankfully a lot of friends in the last 2 years who I used to be friends with, and now it's kind of just distancing myself, because I've seen that happen often, right? Where you see people a lot that frustrate you because you're like, okay, I know I could be here, but I guess want to hang out here. I'm like, this is fun, but I'm used to this. It's familiar.
Yeah.
Right? So what I want to know is, I'm curious, as kind of time has gone through and as you've kind of progressed and developed different skills, right? Whether it be like in training or dunking or whatever, speaking or business, right? How have like people kind of been with you in terms of like who you are and reacting to you, and then friends of yours that you've had as you've grown up with, and as they kind of do you find it harder to keep a tight knit group, or do you find it easier because they've kind of been with you through the thick of it?
Well, I think with me, I don't know. I don't spend that much time with other people. You know what I mean? So I've always heard the quotes of like,
Amazing.
You are the average of like your 5 closest friends, and I have close friends, but I don't see them often, or especially like when I was doing my dunk thing, I did not see them often, like very, very rarely. So, I'd hear people be like, "Oh, I have almost no time for social time." I'm like, what?
What is social time?
Oh my god! I'm like, no, that's a waste of time. That's what I said. Like, that's the biggest waste of time. I have something to do, So, although I did have close to me again, Nils Wagner from a Hoop Mixtape, and again, like I said, he's a mental beast, and have my dad, who I grew up with. Right, I was parented freaking amazing.
Nice.
So that's one thing I can't take
That's
away.
a blessing, man. Like, that's awesome.
Man, it's crazy. I also had a great mom and a great stepdad. So I had 3 parents. You know what I mean?
Epic, yeah.
And I got to learn some very like different things from both sides. They are both like workaholics and like mental beasts. One side in like business, academics, and then with my dad with sports, which is where I connected with a lot, obviously, right? But they're both part of the same thing, the same mentality, right? So it was very cool to have all that. So those were the things that were close to me. And so in terms of friends, like, I guess it affected me with like girlfriend like relationships, right? There's some where I would go dunk for like a couple hours. I would wake up, whatever time it was. I'd go dunk for 2, 3, 4 hours, and then I'd go work until 9, and then I would come back and dunk again until like midnight. And so my girlfriend, she gets sick of it, or not necessarily sick of it, but if she wanted to come hang out with me, she had to come to the court and watch me dunk.
100%.
that was our quality time, you know what I mean? So yeah, it definitely affected some relationships in like negative ways.
I find that would almost be better at that pace, right? Like I find you'd filter out people a lot easier, right? Like you don't have to go through these 8-year-long friendships just to find out the person's an asshole that you don't want to be around, right? And I'm sure we've all had those experiences, but I find it's like, oh, you can't commit. Well, this is what it is.
Yeah, I'm fortunate too that I was. I think I've always naturally been somebody who wanted to be alone.
Yeah.
I was never one of those people who like always needs like a friend at all times. You see those people who are like can't be alone like at all. Like the second they're alone, like, oh, want to hang out, want to hang out. I'm like, nah, man. Like I would just love to just be by myself like for long periods of time. I'm very okay with that. So yeah, that was, and the fact that it's very comforting to know too that like if I'm by myself, that's when I work my best, work my hardest. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Although it'd be cool to see. Although I got to live with Nils, so I still am a workaholic with him. And then it'd be cool to see if I if I choose to surround myself with more people like that. You know what I mean? But I guess I don't get to meet that many, especially because early in my career I didn't care about social networking or anything like that, right? And I got to meet some really cool people, for like 2 seconds, but I really didn't care to get to know them or make friends with them because I was like, they have nothing to do with dunking. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
My brain was all dunking. That was
amazing.
It. So yeah,
that's awesome. That's that hyper focus we were talking about like 15 minutes ago. Yeah. Man, that's really cool. So, I guess how do you find confidence in being alone?
I guess it's more the reverse. I'm like, it's some nice confidence to know that that I work really hard and really well, or the best whenever I am alone. You know what I mean? Like, why is that the case? I don't really know. Maybe that's just the way I was born, I guess. Yeah. Well, I guess that's not true. It's not that true. This is good because they're making me think too, right? But yes, there's part of me that always liked being alone. I remember this one time at recess at Felix or whatever.
Recess, I love it.
At Felix.
I haven't heard that word in years.
Yeah, elementary school. And I would just go sit in like the corner and just I don't know why I just sat there. I just sat there. Like,
This is
like,
amazing.
so far away from everybody, and I just like looked out. I guess in a sense it was like slightly like kind of like meditation or something like that. But I don't know what I was thinking about, what I was doing, and I was doing that for a bit until somebody made fun of me for it, and I was like, okay, I guess I won't do that.
I just pictured this giant field and a bunch of kids playing in like a circle, and then a little blue-haired 11-year-old way off in the corner, just hanging out, just like staring at the flowers. Fence of the flowers. Yeah. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I had some of it in me, but yes, I went through times. I remember specifically times where. You know, again, I spent my whole life with a dad who was like basically a motivational speaker with the way he trains, and then always being attracted to YouTubers who are like, you know, are about self-growth and stuff like that. Yeah, and so, yeah, I go through times where all I wanted to do was reach out to people because I was going through a hard time, especially those ADD meds, man, they mess with your head, and like, it's crazy, and especially those days where I was just, you know, not take it for a day, like, man, it messed me up, and like how badly I wanted to like rip my skin off and just like talk to somebody, and I just wouldn't, because I was like, no, don't let yourself. And it wasn't one of those things like to be a man or to be tough. It was just to more so to learn to be alone and to go through things alone, so I can have the confidence that I can do anything on my own. You know what I mean? You know, I don't suggest that to everybody. I was like, as much as like that was rough, I think that was you know, it's not like I was going to some like mental depressions like specifically, right? Yeah. So for those people, that's not advice who are going through that hard of a time like that. But again, it was more of like a loneliness thing that I want to crush, right?
Nice. So that kind of goes.
That took some time.
To what you said like a while ago, where you mentioned going through things that are scary. Whether you were intentionally like, oh, I know if I break the cycle with my meds, then all of a sudden, like, this is going to happen, right? I'm going to do it automatically. You know what? Okay, next Thursday, I'm not going to go on my meds for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and see, because I know what's going to be on the other side. I want to get better at being I don't know if it was like that, like if there was intent behind it, but that is, to your point earlier, of going through kind of scarier things that make you better at situations that you maybe weren't better in before.
100%. Yeah, that time was definitely the purpose was to just learn to be good alone. Nice. Because I felt like, you know, it was one of those things where like I felt like I preached it, right? But here it was hitting me in the face, and I was like, man, I gotta be by it. You know, I gotta be about it. Especially because I would do long-term relationships, and then, you know, I wasn't with anybody at the time, so that's why I had to, like, you know, you're lonely after
right. You go
kind
from
of stuff, right?
100%, right? You're with somebody for so long, then all of a sudden nobody.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's very big.
So
switch.
yeah, I had to spend time learning to be happy on my own, right? And, yeah.
What I will say is, I do know you're very introverted, right? Fair to say. I think what I found was really cool with, and it's just like an overall observation I've made over the last like 40 podcast episodes I've done, the last year and a bit. But I find introverts are so well spoken and very, very self-aware.
Interesting.
And you back up my statement with what you're speaking about.
Interesting.
Right? Like you're very, very in touch with kind of who you are and what makes you tick in certain ways and how you develop your own skills, right? Whether it be other people could do the same or not is a different thing, right? But you seem very, very aware, and it's very like refreshing the way you're talking. And I'm like, I know you're very introverted, but you're sitting in front of me, and I just have to compliment you on this because I'm like, you're very, very well spoken and articulate, and I think it's very, very, very interesting because of how introverted you are. But you like, I hear everything you're saying. I'm like, man, he's a very articulate, well-spoken guy. It's amazing.
That's crazy to hear, because well-spoken and articulate were the two things I did not get when I was growing up. Just because, academically, I did not do that well. I mean, not necessarily terribly, but especially when it came to languages, so just English and French. Like I was, just words in general. Like I was so bad. It also took me till late college. Maybe I was even out of college. I don't remember. To realize that I was dyslexic when it came to like words like reading.
Really?
Yeah. So
Come
like
on.
I was like, wait a minute. For you guys, like the words don't kind of mix up. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So if I'm reading a line, like top and bottom of these, like the words switch, letters switch. I'm reading words that aren't even there, like nonstop, right? So when I kind of figured that out, and I like doing audiobooks, right? But when I figured that out, I was like, very interesting. I was like, maybe it's not that I hate reading, maybe it's just that like, I have a hard time with it because the way my brain is taking it in. So
you kind of shut yourself off to doing it.
Yeah. So in the past, like, couple of years, I've, listened to and also listened and read like at the same time, right? Because it's easier for me to like listen to it while I just kind of keeping track. Because sometimes I won't catch every word, but I'll catch most of them. But the audio will say it for me anyways. So. Yeah. I can do it that way. So anyways, I get through way more books, and it's interesting that my education has been way better now that I've been out of school.
It's weird how that works,
right? Yeah, and it's really cool. It's really cool. And I grew up feeling really dumb. Like, I just really dumb. Just because, I think it's more so because my brothers are really smart, right? Yeah. Especially my brother Grant. He's incredibly bright, very logical dude, but... And so, man would just run circles around me, and I was just, even though he's my younger brother, so, and I've never been called smart or wise in any of these things, and lately, the past year, that's, I've been getting those a lot, so it's really cool.
Nice.
It's really fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm happy to hear that. Switching gears a bit, so, when I kind of, my specific prep for a podcast, right, in terms of prep and research, I find the best way to go about it, for anybody starting a podcast or just anybody in general, I don't like Googling or going down this ridiculous rabbit hole of who I'm having on the show. What I like to do is I like to reach out to people who I know the person better than I do. Right?
That's cool.
And so, yeah, thank you. So that's kind of what I like to think. I mean, it's all right, and it seems to work. But the handful of people I called, and I do mean on the phone, talked to, in regards to podcast prep for you, they all brought up your father. There was a commonality between, like, I had like 20-minute, 15-minute conversations with every single one of these people. So a good hour of that time, and probably, obviously dunking things come up, right? But the common thing was your father. So what I want to know is, take me through kind of the impact he had on you growing up to kind of now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, they're completely right. That's where it comes from, right? Like, all of the way I approach sports is because of him, right? What's really neat is I can see him training kids now, and all I get is nostalgia. Like, first I'll get impressed, where I'm like, whoa, like, man, like, that's crazy how good he is with kids. Like, like how he's literally like a motivational speaker. But then, like, right after that, I'm like, man, this is nostalgic. Like, how crazy is that? And how cool is that? Like, I'm impressed by like how amazing he is, and how well he speaks with his clients. And then I'm just like, man, that's what he said to me. That's how he was with me. Like, me, where I'm at now, becoming the best in the world at something, or most people think, and then so subjective. Anyways,
toot your own horn, buddy. It's your episode.
Yeah, whatever.
It's like, no.
Being to where I got to today, and everything I've learned over the years, for me to still be like, whoa, that is insane how good he is, and his messages, and to be like, that is what I got. Me seeing that from my perspective now, and like, that's what I got as a kid. Like, man, that's pretty badass. So, anyways, what he was able to teach me is basically like, the Kobe mentality stuff. You know what I mean? Where whenever you're practicing something, and this stuck in my head with a lot of things actually throughout the years, was do something like nonstop until you get sick of it, and then you keep going anyways. You know what I mean? And then you keep going.
Hate it, keep going.
When you get sick of it, that's when you keep going. I'm like, man. And there's so many things, like little things like that I got from him. Like, or even if you ever said the word can't, like, you want to see him get fired up?
Get out.
No, he won't tell you to get out. He'll just get fired, like, fired up, but also in like a passionate but compassionate way. He doesn't get actually angry. You know, there's just so much compassion and passion. You know, he it's like, don't you ever say. You know, he'll grab you by the freaking head and don't you ever say that. You know, you can do anything. You know, he'll just like, man, everything he would say was just so. What's funny too is sometimes he doesn't even need to say things with the perfect words, but because of how intense, like his facial expressions and his body expressions,
there's such conviction,
there's times where I've seen him, like, he didn't even say any like words there, but like you completely understood what he was saying. You know what I mean? Because he's so passionate. Jeez. And that's what I got from him, and that was pretty badass. And I guess the other part is there's a lot of people out there, a lot of parents, you know, who say all these things, all these stories about themselves, and they don't show an example of it. My dad was like a living example of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the wildest. I'm gonna bring up this comparison just because I've been reading the Bible,
awesome.
But I'm not Christian or anything like that. But I find it interesting anyways.
It's tough. It's a thick read.
That's thick. I skipped to just the Christ with Jesus because, you know, I think he's the man. But so or the Christ, the God, whatever.
I get you. Yeah. Amazing.
Anyways, but it's just the fact that yes, he was wise and said things, but it's constantly pushed like he was a living example of this. You know what I mean? Like, that's the important part, is to live by example, because especially as a child, they don't really listen to you. They watch you. You know what I mean? Like, like whatever you're doing, that's what they're gonna pick up on, right? And so
do as I do.
Exactly. And he was like the full-on example of that. He was still badass at all the sports. Even when he was like older and I was still like jumping high and like dunking, he could still beat me at basketball, even though he was like, you know, 50.
Yeah, amazing.
And, you know, we always played these drills where he would just dribble the ball around behind the back between the legs nonstop, and we just like nonstop try and catch the ball. We just couldn't. We just like, you know, we literally just go through his legs trying to get it. We like,
oh, that's hilarious. That's awesome.
And again, like, it's just how hard he worked. And all the stories I heard from other people, the same stories that he told me, right? Let's say from a tournament, like, this happened.
Yeah.
Somebody else would tell me the same story, and it was always crazier. And like the way they explained it, then the way my dad explained it. Oh yeah, he tells us the modest version, dude. Like, oh man, that was
he would cool. too. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Super badass.
That's the coolest thing. And that's so cool, because when a lot of people told me that, and then I'd only ever heard people mention like one or two things, but the whole thing was because it was like the whole thing was the impact that he had on you, and I think to hear you say now in front of me how he was telling you modest version of these crazy things that was happening, I'm like, man, that's awesome. Like, there's a story of this, there's this speech, because I get down a rabbit hole of listening to like different motivational speeches, and so one of these guys, he mentions, he's like, my dad woke up at 4:30 a.m. and was out at the house. Our clocks were always set ahead, so we didn't know what time it was, stuff like that. But he was like, the one thing he said is he's like one day my mom, from the perspective of the kid, he's like, one day my mom asked my husband, hey honey, what are you doing? Why are you getting up every morning at 4:30? And he's like, so my kids catch me in the act of excellence, was the dude's answer. And to hear you say that reminds me of that, and I was like, oh yeah, the do as I do, not do as I say.
That's exactly, that's like the whole Kobe mentality thing. Like, the amount of people that have stories of Kobe Bryant where like they go to the gym like absurdly early because they're gonna be the guy, and then they show up and they see Kobe, they're practicing already when they were planning to show up, like, I don't even know how long it was, let's say 4 hours before the practice, before the game, and somebody else is like, oh yeah, he's been here for like 4 hours already. And it's like, dude, like, what that? Like, it's like, how do you compete with that, you know?
Yeah.
I think that was a fun thing to play with too, with other dunkers. Like, I'd do the same thing. I would go to a dunk contest, I'd lose, I'd go and train for 4 hours, not telling anybody, but the dunkers would go by and they would see it, you know. And that's always how I was too. And I just, those little things make the difference in like who you become, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting too, in terms of who you become. And after you lose, you're like, all right, well, when's the next time I get on the
it's not gonna happen again. Right? What I gotta do?
Yeah, I remember the first time I lost a tournament, a jiu-jitsu tournament specifically. I remember it was a Saturday and competed in, I think, Scarborough or Toronto, somewhere down south, right? We go, competed, I lost, and then I was so beaten up on it because I like trained so hard that week. I was like, okay, well, whatever. next day, so we get home, right, at like, we leave around 5, 6 after dinner, hit the road, get back, it's like 10 o'clock at night, right, whatever. I wake up, open mat at 10 the next morning on Sunday. I'm like, fuck, I gotta go. And then I'm there for like I was there for like 2, 3, 4 hours probably, just drilling, and then rounds and rounds, and I was just, they're like, oh, did you not do a tournament yesterday? I'm like, yeah, I got my ass kicked. Like, I really didn't like that feeling again. Mm-hmm. It was embarrassing. You feel like less of a man. So I'm like, well, I'm fucking, it happens, right? We're all meant to fail or lose at something or at some point in what we're doing, especially if we're trying to get good at something. If you've never failed, then you failed the whole thing, because the whole point of what we're doing is like, if you don't fail at anything,
you didn't try.
You didn't try at all, right? Yeah.
Really.
Right, it's like aim high and
you didn't try hard enough, straight up.
Yeah, for sure. Now, switching gears a bit. So something that actually came up that was interesting. Back to those phone calls I was telling you about earlier with different people about you. But the main one that came up really was interesting. This mutual friend of ours said, I have it somewhere. Yeah. He said, Jordan is the hero you want to meet, because he used it in the sense of...
That's ridiculous.
Come on. That's hilarious. Dude, listen, he said, you know when people are like, you don't meet your hero? And then he's like, no, Jordan's that good of a dude that you want to meet him. He was talking in terms of like community and stuff, and who you are and what you do for the community. I like that you just immediately shut it down.
No,
like,
actually,
really
it was actually the opposite reaction. It wasn't shutting it down. It was just like, that is a insane compliment thing to say. Like, that's
yeah, very
trying my best to receive that. That's intense.
I'm glad, but it yeah, man. I heard it and I was like, oh, I get it. So what I want to know is kind of take me through like your community involvement or engagement, and like, why is that so important to you? Because that was the main thing that a lot of people said, but that quote, I thought you'd like to hear it.
That's super cool to me, because
huge.
Even when it comes to shows or stories or anything, like, or my dad, or the thing that I love the most, what gets me fired up, is the hero's journey. You know, like that's what it comes down to. It's just like that whole process. So to hear something like that is kind of insane. Nowhere near that, but I'll get there.
Amazing.
Nice. But yeah, when it comes to the community, again, that's kind of a weird thing to say. Like, to me right now, I think maybe in the future I'll have a legitimate impact. Potentially I've had impacts that I don't necessarily know about. Like, that's kind of how it tends to go a lot of times.
I think that's how they were looking at it.
Yeah. Like, but I mean, in my eyes, I haven't done shit. Like, yes, I'll help out, like, with stuff like 5 Cent City, like, a few times, but that's like one event, and I do like small things here and there for people, but not looking for like the whole, and I don't, necessarily like discriminate who it's for or against or whatever, but yeah, I haven't done shit. That's kind of where my next goal is. So the whole reason I got into dunking was to help people, basically, right? Somebody forced me to write, why do I dunk? Okay, then why that? And it came to just help evolution grow. That's where it came. And the one before that was because my dad was an inspiration to me, and basically, like, I want to give that to other people. Yeah. But anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm going to use dunking as like my authority. One, yes, it's going to be an inspiration to show what you can do. Yeah. Two, it'll be my authority. And whatever I say to, let's say, a kid who's a fan of me, like, they're going to listen to me more than what their parents are going to, right? So I have the responsibility to learn how to know what the hell I'm talking about. To, like, teach people, like, valuable things to improve their life. And that's where I'm at. That's why I want to look into public speaking, so I can, like, deliver some of like the things that I've learned, let's say, about discipline or overcoming things, why it's worth it, or whatever. To the world, some of my messages, but that's why I'm like spending so much time, like listening to books, reading books, and like just having other life experiences, so I will have proper things to give to the world. But I'm not there yet. But I mean, I say I'm not there yet. I'm constantly like giving little things, not
that was what they were referring to,
right? So that's those things that I guess they're talking about. But hopefully, the plan is to do much more, you know, and
For sure. Build the impact, right?
Yeah, build the impact. And it's not even one of those things where it's like for them, as messed up as that sounds. I personally believe that every decision a person makes is selfish. You know, if you do something for somebody else, it's because it feels good for you. If you think it's right, it's part of your values. You know, so every decision is for you, technically.
Yeah.
It just feels good because we're humans. I mean, you know, it's human nature. We like to help people out. That's how our tribes survived back in the days, to care for each other, right? Human connection and all that. So, yeah, it's just fun. You know, that's what is gives you profound meaning in life. You know what I mean? So, that's all it is. So I'm working towards that.
Nice.
I don't know exactly what direction I'm going to be taking with that yet. You know, I have options. And luckily for me, I'm interested. A lot of things pique my interest. So whenever I find that one thing, like I'm going to go hard in a lot of things. Not just like kind of try, I'll fully try it.
Right.
And whenever one clicks, I'm going all out.
So when that happens, how do you manage to compartmentalize multiple things and going all out and, like you said, going till the point where you're sick of it and then going further in so many different things?
Well, now it's already a habit. It's already drilled in with dunking, you know what I mean? So it's so easy now. That's the thing, is like to maintain that level of, you know, discipline is not nearly as hard, right? Like
developing is what's
tough. Don't get me wrong. Like you know, they use the example of like the dojo, right? Like if anytime there's like you know, dust that settles, like every day you gotta sweep it. You know, it's always gonna keep collecting, right? Like every day, so you gotta like work on it, like, you know, keep it up all the time at the very least. But yeah, so that point is kind of easy.
Nice.
That's where the confidence, right? So the confidence from mastering something, right? Like that would be no problem.
Yeah. True. And I guess you're like, it doesn't matter what it is. Oh, it's in front of me.
If I like it,
let's tackle it.
It's game over. You know.
Yeah, it's game over. Nice. So, kind of switching a bit. How do you like? Where does? Because I'm not too familiar in terms of like the longevity of a professional dunker, right? I definitely know you're more familiar with it. I would hope so. But what does that kind of look like for Jordan after the pro dunk career ends? Like, what does that kind of look like? Are you just you set other stuff up as you go, or do you kind of always keep that in the back of your mind? You're like, no, it's not until something happens that I need to focus on it.
So I'll give you the game plan.
Nice.
So the game plan is pretty freaking simple, man. So in terms of my dunk career, how long will I go? Who knows? It'll basically, I think, it'll be till I choose to stop.
Makes sense.
You know, it could be 3 years, it could be 6 years. I don't really know. I'm pretty good with like. Another interest I have is how like the body works, and like, you know, taking care of my body. You know, get a bunch of tiny injuries here and there, so I'm good with upkeeping it.
Good.
And I have amazing people. I have Christian Robertson there to help me out and keep my body intact. But so yeah, my game plan, like I said, is basically going to be to dabble really hard into these things that I like. And I'm not even done figuring out all the things that I do like, right? Yeah. So I dabbled into music. I was like, maybe I'll incorporate some messages I want to put out in with music, and like maybe I'll try and, you know, I have an interest in doing that with like EDM kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I was 100% convinced you were gonna say rap.
No,
I'll be honest.
Everybody thinks that.
No.
My
It
music
just seems like a basketball stereotype thing. I don't know.
That's completely what it is. Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, you like Drake? Sure. But I mean, I like EDM big time. But
nice.
Actually, now my brother, he's been doing EDM. He's been like hours and hours every day for like 2.5 years now.
Oh, no kidding.
He's getting good.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's getting very good.
That's awesome.
He can actually learn fast.
Yeah.
And work hard. Like he's gonna crush. Anyways,
amazing.
So I would start going hard with music, and then I would start just going after these other things, like learning about you know, taking my own courses for like physio kind of stuff, and from people who I respect, and then start getting to issues, money problems, where I'm like, I need more money. You know, I'm kind of it's stopping my progress right now. And like, yes, I know I can like YouTube any video. You can learn anything nowadays, but the amount of shortcuts you could take when you have money, like to getting yourself like proper mentors.
For sure. Oh, it's
right,
astronomical.
And I feel like I don't feel like wasting my time doing that. Plus, I want to make money anyways. So the goal now is, I'm going to keep dunking
for sure
because I love it and it's the funnest thing ever. There's also some things that I want to not leave undone with dunking, so like just dunks that I want to do before I'm done. And then I'm also going to use it to make money and keep investing that. And the goal is to get my passive income up enough to where I can basically do whatever I want. I don't need to be like any kind of rich to do that, but at least good income. Again, passive income to where I can just do whatever and focus completely, so I can zero. And that's my problem. I will zero in really hard, but then if I have to come to like a stop because of money, it'll take me in and out, in and out, in and out.
It's frustrating.
Yeah. So right now, my whole goal is to just get my money up. And I had such a terrible respect for money growing up. I almost thought it was like a good thing to like hate money. You know what I mean? Like money doesn't matter. It's like, man, money's an amplifier. If you're
it's
like
humongous.
Yeah,
it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, if you're like,
it's the reason we do everything.
Straight up, it's like
right?
all the people who say like money doesn't bring you happiness are the people working 9 to 5s for it every day, working 8 hours every single day,
hating every minute of their existence just to make ends meet.
It makes no sense. Like the people who hate money the most are the ones who work for it the most.
It's a weird concept, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very weird. Anyway, but these are all concepts that we've learned a lot of times from our parents or all this other stuff, and I had to unlearn a lot of concepts.
That's tough.
Again, through books, right, and then seeing it. So yeah, that was an interesting journey. But now taking money more seriously, investing, blah blah blah, and hopefully, I can't give you a clear direction of what I'm gonna choose to do right now, but I will be, and it's kind of like a slightly scary, but not very scary because it'll work out fine.
Yeah, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it whether you're scared or not.
But it's more like an exciting thing,
Right.
It's like, man, what is it gonna be? What is the thing I'm going to pick? You know what I mean?
That's kind of awesome. Is that not like a really cool feeling?
Technically, I'm picking all of them right now, which is why it's kind of fun. I'm like,
yeah.
I learned a little bit about this. I learned a little bit about this. Lately, I've been going to spiritual stuff because I like to understand people.
Yeah.
That's what splits up people so much. But like, so what are they all really saying? You know what I mean? So I like to understand like where people are coming from, because that's when you can actually make like a real impact, right?
Right.
Because you see sometimes people making arguments, even about diets, where people are saying like, why would they think this? Like, this is obvious that this. And it's like, you're not even taking into account what the argument to that is. You know what I mean?
Did you hear what they said?
It's so funny. It's so funny. So anyways, that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to understand people with multiple different things.
Interesting.
Dude, I don't know why. It's interesting.
Yeah. No, it is. It is for sure. I find myself doing something similar, especially, and it's tough, right? Because you want to do everything, but at the same time, you're like, all right, what do I dive down? And then it's making the decision on picking which one or how to hyper focus on one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of Rich Dad Poor Dad, have you read that?
Mm-hmm. That was the first one that got me to respect money.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Gateway.
Yeah,
that's a gateway drug.
Yeah, if you haven't read it, but you want to do passive income,
yeah,
come on.
That's the first one. Like, you can recommend a bunch of money books to people, but you just start them with Rich Dad Poor Dad. They'll find all the other ones.
Yeah,
they'll find them because it's what gets you started, and it sets your mindset up like right to respect money properly.
For sure, right? It's the idea of you're not thinking as an employee. That's the whole right, not working for money, thinking of an employee, which I think I kind of want to do if and when I have kids, to fucking do that. That'd be a good idea.
Right.
Maybe just be like, all right, work for me for free. I can get some sweat equity from you munchkins, and then, you guys get
little sweatshops in the back.
Well, maybe.
No, I'm just kidding.
Not so much. Probably not at all, ever. But I think in regards to your with understanding people, and especially like the example you used with people arguing on different sides, and we see it so much more now too. It could be just social media is so much more prevalent, but everybody's an expert because they have such such easy, effortless access to all information, right? It's like if I want, I can ask you any question in the world and you can answer it within 10 seconds. That's kind of crazy, right? And so I think the communication issue lies with, and it's a skill that I've developed as the podcast is growing, but people don't listen to understand. They listen to reply. And right, is it not something where I'm sure you can relate, where you've had conversations where it's like, this person, as soon as I'm done, I'm just about to finish the sentence, right in with what they're about to say. Like, how long have you been thinking about what you're about to say?
I know.
I didn't even say remotely, and then it's like, all right, it's frustrating.
It's one of those things where people, you don't view things how they are, you view things how you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like the second something comes up, like they already are. You can just tell they're locked and loaded with what they're gonna say before they even you're even done saying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's a skill that I've thought about. One of my mentors, and I did a 2-week service trip in the rainforest in 2018.
Sick.
Yeah, dude, it was nuts. It was really cool. Recommend it to anybody.
For sure.
Because of that giving back. As much as I paid X amount of money to go. Yeah, it was amazing. And the woman who led the trip, she led the 10 of us, right? So there were 11 of us. She led all of us. Amazing woman. And I remember her saying, like, she was kind of mentoring me a bit towards the beginning of the show, but she said, Glenn, as a skill that we all need to develop for being able to be better communicators, it's tricky as a host and stuff like that, where you're in this situation where you're talking to people. Yes, you want to listen to understand, but are you able to listen to understand? And then in my scenario right here, it's now you have to think about how you're going to continue the conversation. It's not like, okay, all right, I'm understanding what you're saying, and then it's, okay, shit.
I see.
What is he going to say?
That's interesting.
Right? Yeah, it's a very weird skill, like very, very specific skill that I'm in the process of developing in terms of my communication.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Right?
That's cool. Yeah.
It's a weird thing, but it's so specific, and like the minutia and the details behind why we speak the way we do, and it's all perspective, man.
Yeah.
Right? It's why we travel, or it's why I do. Yeah. Right? It's why we go places. It's why we talk to people. It's why I'm doing this show right now. Right?
Yeah.
It's perspective. It's like I want to see things through your eyes and understand what you've been through, and you hear your story as a way to kind of understand and get more perspective, so that as I kind of grow and develop, or as you grow and develop, kind of pick back or refer back to situations and conversations you've had, right? Where I don't just need my phone to do all the talking for me,
right,
when it comes to knowing things, right? So I think it's really
that's
cool.
That's probably such a subtle skill to learn.
Yeah.
About understanding, but then also keeping the conversation going.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's not easy, obviously, and I guess as days go by, and depending on the time of day or day of the week or how you're feeling that day, or like motivated, unmotivated, whatever, like you said earlier, discipline kind of kicks in. You can get like to certain things, like episodes specifically, but like with me and my example, but then thinking about stuff like that, and then trying to understand the behavior that we're doing, and then like I'll probably watch this back once, but then I'm gonna question, like, okay, was my transitions here good? Was like how was it there? How's that, right? Like I'm a firm believer on like self-reflection is very underrated, right? Just kind of looking back, whether I don't know how you do it, or if you do, or if you like take it seriously to a point where like you're aware you're doing it, but I find myself doing that often, where okay, if I have a conversation or podcast specifically, I'll do it, or after I'll train, like I'll journal things to go, okay, how was that round felt? Why did that round with that same person 2 days ago feel worse than it did today? Right? And you can kind of understand the behaviors you went through that day. Right.
Well, I mean, I 100% do that. Like, just yesterday I did that with a dunk that I never ended up getting. But, so,
next time.
95% of the time, if I'm trying like a dunk that I've never done before, after every single jump, I go back to the camera and look at the footage and see what I'm trying to find what it is that I did wrong every single time. Right, back and forth, back and forth, and that's how you learn your mistakes, right? You get really good at knowing exactly what it is you have to do. Like the amount of times where I see people just trying, because I've spent so much time going back and forth and like literally inventing like the problem solving, like some problem solving aspects of dunking, and like cues you're supposed to do. I'm sure you see it even with what you're doing, right? Where you just see, instead of somebody like listening to you, they'll just keep trying, and you just see it. You're like, all you have to focus on is this one time,
every day,
one time, and they're just like, no, they think if they just keep trying, it'll just happen. It's like, that's why like just trying, it isn't just enough. Like Kobe was like, it's not about just showing up and shooting a bunch of times. You got to be focused every single time. You know, you
Proactive
gotta show up
focus,
mentally every time.
It's
Show up
huge,
physically
man.
and then mentally too. You know.
Yeah. Mentally's huge, man. You're right. Or he's right as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, right? But and I think focus is something a lot of people don't think about, right? It's not so easy as to just go through and go, okay, I'll use this example. I'm not gonna go through somebody. Okay, I have to download Instagram, go to the bottom. Okay, what do I want to ask about? All right, I don't care about that, but what about that? Oh, that looks fun. Ooh, who's that? You know, right, there's more to it. It's like, okay, no, it's proactive. Call people, talk to people, get out there, put yourself out there, and you have to speak it into existence, right? You manifest it.
Yeah.
That's kind of something over the last year or so that I've been kind of following and be like, you know, manifesting, putting things out there, like just, hey, I want this person on the show, or I want to learn about this. Who do I think I know I can get a hold of within the next 3 weeks that could talk to me about this?
Yeah.
That's kind of how my brain operates.
Beautiful.
And it kind of works in a weird way, I think, but doing that and then being able to go, okay, how do we do this? How do we do this? How do we do this? I can't just go, all right, why is nothing happening? Because I'm not doing anything.
That's right.
You know? You have to be able to, I don't know, how often do you, what do you kind of attribute everything to? Do you have to, with kind of little things or even big goals, do you find you have to manifest it at all, or you put it out there now that you're kind of getting into this spiritual
I guess I
side of
never
things,
viewed
or-
it as manifesting. I don't think I understand the whole process of manifesting.
I'm not sure I do either, to be honest.
It's just because I think I've had it ruined by some people who I think stopped at just manifesting, where like that's all you need. You just need to think you want it really bad, and that's it. And it's like, you know,
I see what you mean.
And then
That's
there's
your point.
I've heard people actually say that, and it's like, oh, it's like pick the path of least resistance. I'm like, that's not how I would have gotten here.
No, it doesn't work.
Like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Like, and then I start explaining like some obvious things, like all the people who went through the hardest things are the people who become like super great at things.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah. I'm like, it's so simple.
It's right in front of you.
But then there's the other people who are, I said the same thing about manifesting, and they're like, no, like part of manifesting is taking action. So, I guess I have to read The Secret to fully understand it, because I think that's where a lot of it came from.
Yeah.
Obviously it's not just from there. It's what
Right.
people before that, but again, I think it's again the importance of learning to master something. I'm going to keep going back to that every single time because. And I think it's falling in love. I think anytime you do something, I got this from Christian, that's putting you in the direction to becoming the person who you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I am the person who wants to be the kind of person who can make a big difference in the community, like almost effortlessly. You know what I mean? I want to be the kind of person that like meditates for long periods of time all the time. I want to be the kind of person who like crushes books. I want to be the kind of person who does this and that. So anytime somebody or like I do things in that direction is when I'll be happiest. Again, this is something I got from Christian, but when it comes to the discipline stuff, I think when you start to, and this goes with that, when you start to fall in love with doing the things that other people won't do, like you love yourself for it, is what I'm saying. So like I'm doing this right now, like I don't even know if it's gonna make a difference. I have no idea. Like is that one extra like ball handling like drills like day gonna make a difference? Is that one thing really gonna make a difference at the end of like all this stuff? But you're constantly doing those things because it's what you do, because that's what makes you different than other people. You know what I mean? And that fall in love with that idea, like, man, I'm different because of this. Like this is what makes it so that I'm going to achieve this thing, and like just falling in love with that makes you fall in love with yourself, because you end up becoming the kind of person who does the hard things all the time and who can make your own dreams happen. Like you start to love yourself fully. Like, man, I did this for myself. You know what I mean? Like, what a beautiful thing. I got to fully live my dreams, like way more than my dreams. Like, how can I not love myself now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's such a beautiful thing.
And like you said, it doesn't get there the easy way. And it definitely doesn't get there with the path of least resistance. No. Right? But that's what living is.
Yeah.
Right? Is experience those like, man, I fucking love myself. Like, this is amazing. And there's this weird thing that one of my best friends is living in Australia right now. And him and I go back and forth on this a lot. But it's the concept that people have where they're like, talking good about themselves. Like it's almost like frowned upon to like feel good about yourself and openly saying like, man, I feel great today. You know, they're like, simmer down. No, it's like, what?
Yeah,
For what?
I remember I'd feel
It's
like
weird.
that too, where, you know, like, how you doing? Somebody would be like, fantastic. I'm like, okay, that's like loud, man.
Like,
You know?
pump the brakes. Yeah.
And then I heard somebody say the same thing, like, man, like, I feel great. And like the amount of times that people, in order to make somebody else feel bigger, they bring themselves down.
Yeah, it's weird.
You know what I mean? Like, if they're down, they don't want to make themselves appear big because they don't want to make them feel bad for being down. You know what I mean? It's really, really weird. And then this another thing I got so much from Christian. He was my mentor and a half, man. And, you know, what's kind of beautiful and people don't realize is that when you present yourself where you are, which is like big if that's where you are, you know, like as tall, you stand up tall and fully, right? Instead of being like this and trying to meet other people at their level.
Yeah.
And be everything that you are, and then those people who are feeling lower, it won't, sometimes, yeah, they might feel like, you know, that makes them feel smaller, but a lot of times, man, it gives them permission to go in that direction, to be big themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially imagine in a friend group, if like one person feels down, so everybody's like, oh, we all got to feel down.
No,
It's going to bring that other person.
Group. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to bring you up, man. Like, you got to it'll give that person permission to feel big themselves, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of an incredible thing that I think that confidence though that you're talking about, where you're like, it almost seems like any group now, you're like, you know what, if everybody's feeling down, fuck it, I'm bringing everyone up, right? It's that confidence you get, and I think that it's radiant, right? There's an energy to it, right? And I notice that too. Like you have an energy. Like there's like, I love the energy you emit. Well,
thank you. I appreciate that.
No worries. You like you emit this energy. Like you're going for shit. You got your mind, and you know exactly what you're looking at. Blinders are up. You're looking straight forward, and just hearing the way you talk and the confidence in what you're saying is very, very. It's inspiring, man. It really is. It really is. That's not just. I mean that genuinely. And hearing a lot of people talk to me about you, and that being a thing that's kind of come up. And then, like our mutual friend Michael, right? And stuff like that. Stories like those, and like people who've like taken inspiration from you. And then as I kind of listen to the more you talk about things and your confidence, it's amazing. Like there's an energy about you, and it's phenomenal. So I just want to point that out. So it's amazing.
That means a lot. That feels good to hear. Thank you.
No worries. So kind of towards, like, as we kind of take it towards the end of the show, what I want to know, what is kind of like a piece of, we've gone through a lot of different things, but what is kind of a final message or a piece of advice or like something that you'd like to pass on, that if somebody clicked on the video or the podcast and went right to this moment, what is one thing you'd want them to kind of take away as best as you can?
So, yeah, I can definitely leave it with this. So, I'm basically going to learn tools to deliver this message as best as I can. So all it is to me like the point of life. You know, for one, you can just choose whatever it is, but at the end of the day, all it really is to enjoy it as best you can. You know what I mean? That's kind of just the point. Like, we're here, might as well enjoy it. So, what do we need to be able to enjoy it to the max? You know, more and more and more and more. And that is learning skills, and usually the thing that you're using to learn those skills is discipline, right? So you got to learn that skill first, and then you use that discipline to learn skills to improve your ability to enjoy life, to be more present, to do all this stuff, and then also learn skills to decrease your stresses in life, right? So if, like, you know, people can get knocked around so much up and down by like stress or highs and this, but if you can like somehow learn all these skills to like make all the bottom stuff just disappear and just kind of like, or mostly disappear, and then kind of keep yourself up here at all times, right?
Yeah.
Become more of an enlightened person, you know? And I don't know, it just feels like the point to me, you know what I mean? The point of doing all the hard stuff is to make life amazing and fun and fun. You know, it's just to make it fun.
It makes it worth living.
Yeah, man, it just makes it fun as heck. And why would you not want to do that? And yeah, with the hard stuff, people talk about like working out's hard, or doing this is hard. It's like,
Missing
man,
the point.
pick your hard, man. Like, like, is it all the issues that you gotta like live with for like the rest of your life, or is it like the hards you're gonna have to go through right now?
Pick your hard.
And eventually, the beautiful thing that people don't realize is once you become really good at like doing the hard things, it's not that hard to do the hard things anymore.
No.
It's not. You start to become a bit crazy, and you like to do those hard things.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun. You know what I mean? Like, that's what happens when you master something. That's why I preach that, because doing hard stuff is just like fun all of a sudden, right?
Because you know you can do it.
Yeah, and you're constantly overcoming something, and it's like those are tiny versions of the hero's journey. That's literally all there's, like overcoming an obstacle, you know. And then
it's a sense of fulfillment you're getting every single time.
yeah, every time you're doing it, like,
which is why we live.
I didn't want to do it today. You know, if it's just like doing a cold shower in a day, you're like, oh, I gotta do it today. And just the fact that you can crank it all the way without even thinking about it, just because like it's such a habit, like that's so satisfying. Like I can do it. There's something I don't want to do, but I can do it like that. And it's actually fun, you know, it makes it fun. It's super weird. Super counterintuitive, but I think it's just part of our DNA. So I think, yeah, get your discipline out, you know, get slightly outside of your comfort zone. Progression is a big deal too. Don't just like, some people, they'll try and do something way out of the comfort zone, get crushed by it, and never try it again. That's why I have to preach progression. Wherever you're at on that day, you know, if you're feeling really good on a day, you know, doing something really big isn't that big of a deal to you. Now, if you're on a down day and you're trying to do that same big thing, you're going to get crushed. You know what I mean? So you got to pay attention to where you are in that moment. Then go progressively go up with how your where your discipline is at, or sorry, outside of your comfort zone, so that your wave will kind of slowly, you'll be going up like this, like waving, but then you'll slowly be going up and up and up and up. That's the idea. So yeah, again, just progression. And yeah, I think I said everything I want to say. But yeah, sorry.
Amazing. So yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, man. I think building a comfort zone so big that you'll never leave it. Right. So I think I was excited to chat with you today, man. And Jordan, as we kind of get to the end of conclude the episode, I'm really happy you were able to make time for the show today and for me. And I really appreciate kind of every time we've talked before, and I'm grateful you're able to come on the show. I really love your energy and just who you are and who you're becoming, and just seeing it is really cool. And yeah, man, I'm really grateful. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for all the flattery today. Thank you.